Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
OpenAI is top of mind across the world of technology. That includes for Elon Musk, who posted on X overnight that his EV company Tesla is having to boost compensation to ward off approaches for its AI talent. Those approaches, claims Musk, include OpenAI. Ethan Knight, a member of Tesla's team working on computer vision for FSD, was approached by OpenAI, so Musk moved him to his own AI company, xAI. Let's get to the OpenAI side of the story. Let's talk about talent. Let's talk about what's happening in the world of artificial intelligence. Brad Lightcap, OpenAI COO, joins us here in New York City. There's no accusation that anything wrong was done, but it highlights an interesting point right now. There is a lot being done on the training of prior generation models, future generation models. There is a finite amount of talent. Give the OpenAI side of this equation, how much of a premium are you having to pay out? I don't know if it's salary or stock or engineering freedom to get the top names.
Well, thank you, Ed and Caroline, for having me. It's great to be with you. You know, look, this is a competitive market for sure. It's an amazing place that we're at because there's very few number of people that can really make such a dramatic impact in this field. But we try and pull people into our mission, and I think that's historically what's been our strength is people want to build in the place where we're pushing the frontier the furthest, and also where we really think about the impact of the technology, both on a societal level and then also on an applied and industry level.
How big is OpenAI now? How many employees, and where are they?
We're about 1,200 people.
1,200?
Yes, mostly in San Francisco, but also in London and Dublin, and increasingly other places in the world.
Increasingly other places in the world. The reporting was that Japan is the next frontier for you. What's the strategy there and where you choose? I don't know whether you call it opening a new market, but where you choose to have operations.
Well, we're very fortunate. We have a very global base of demand. So we want to show up where our customers are. We think this is going to be a global transformation. We feel a lot of pull from places like Japan and Asia broadly. And so we'll show up where we feel like we need to be.
And let's talk about where you show up from an industry perspective. You're here in New York talking to partners. We understand Sam and the teams have been in Hollywood discussing how Sora can be used, but ultimately how you can have a working relationship with companies and industries that think they're going to be upended. Talk to us about how those conversations are going, for example, with Hollywood and publications.
Yeah. You know, we take a very unique perspective here. We really model OpenAI as a partnerships company. And we think this transformation is going to be very broad-based. And so we're one company. We can't do everything ourselves. Being able to find ways to partner with industry, with countries, with specific companies, that's really important to our mission and the way that we think about bringing technology to the world. By way of recent example, we work really closely actually with the publishing industry right now on ways that we can deploy AI into publishing to make the quality of journalism better, to make the quality of reader experiences better. We've heard nothing but really actually a lot of enthusiasm from that industry. And so we're always looking at ways that we can partner with industry. I expect a lot more from us in the future on this front. And Sora is a great example of where we really are excited about the impact that we can make in media.
It's interesting that media companies over in Europe, for example, seem to have got with that quite quickly. Axel Springer, a key deal that you sort of birthed early days, and Axel Springer therefore sees for businesses side perhaps a little bit more blue links within ChatGPT. New York Times ain't on that discussion point right now. How is that legal fight and indeed behind the scenes discussion going with those sorts of companies?
Well, I can't comment on the New York Times case specifically, other than to say we think it's without merit. But the overwhelming majority of what we hear from the publishing industry is actually quite positive. There's a high level of excitement everywhere about what these tools can do, both to unlock better journalism, to give readers more access to information, to enhance the way that people engage with content. So the way that we actually think about even the fundamental business of information engagement and consumption. These things are all really possible now with language models and increasingly with multimodal models too. So we think we're just starting to scratch the surface on that opportunity. We've got a lot more to share there soon, but stay tuned.
You're being positive, being optimistic, of course you are. What's interesting is I come away from meetings where Hollywood is deeply anxious. People in my industry are deeply anxious. Goodness, everyone with a job is trying to work out how they adopt AI. And also there's this question that is ongoing of open versus closed. You're going for another legal fight at the moment. Elon Musk has dragged you into it and wants you to rename yourself. Where do you sit on the closed versus open? How much more open do you have to become?
Yeah, well, look, I think we really focus just on where we can deploy the technology and what's the best way to do that. And at the end of the day, we're going to focus on where our customers are and the way that they want to deploy it. We work with thousands of enterprises across the world. We spend a lot of time working with those enterprises on ways that we can configure the technology specific to their use case, specific to their stack. And we think that the easiest way to do that is the way that we serve it. But that's not to say that we wouldn't look at other ways in the future. We really ultimately want to be where we think the best place to deploy the technology is going to be.
For our Bloomberg television and radio audience worldwide, we're in New York City speaking to OpenAI COO Brad Lightcap. I want to learn more about where OpenAI sits in its growth, its day-to-day operations. You just said thousands of enterprises. We came to know you because of the explosive response to ChatGPT, and that was principally in the context of a consumer-facing chatbot. But it sounds very much like growth now is focused on that enterprise arrangement, licensing of technology. Can you give me proportions, the rate of growth for those two pillars?
Well, we've seen tremendous growth in the enterprise. 24 is going to be the year of adoption for AI in the enterprise. We felt really like 23 was the year that people just started to wrap their head around what was possible with AI in the enterprise. But increasingly, the market is pulling us toward real applications that are delivering real business results and a very broad focus on AI enablement. So how do we think about bringing AI both to our operations, but also to our workforces, and then also to new product experiences that we can deliver to customers? And we work with plenty of companies that are doing all three of those things at the same time. We think that's very possible, and it's having really dramatic bottom line impact today. So this is what we think the pull is going to be, and we're ready to support.
Brad, you're the COO, so I'm assuming you're responsible for also some of the purse strings involved in OpenAI's finances. Compute must be a really considerable cost right now. And with that, the energy consideration as well. Are you making enough revenue from this enterprise business to keep the lights on when you factor in the compute costs involved?
We are, yes. We think that we have, well, first of all, a very diversified business. And so we serve hundreds of millions of users with our ChatGPT product. And many of those users are paying users. Of course, we serve now over 600,000 individual users in the enterprise with ChatGPT Enterprise. And so we're just seeing tremendous momentum. We're very early innings on this. And so we look at it as, hey, this is the start of something. And ultimately, our priority is just to be able to deliver the best intelligence, whether it's in the enterprise or to individuals. That's the most useful, that drives the biggest business impact.
Kara, I'm thinking back to the conversation we had the other day with Danielle Amadei from Anthropic. And what she explained, Brad, was the relationship with AWS and Bedrock. They're getting a lot of business through that. You have a quite similar and actually a pre-existing situation with Microsoft and Azure. Are you able to explain how much new business comes through that conduit of the Microsoft relationship and what were probably existing Azure enterprise customers?
We're really fortunate to have Microsoft as a partner. They've been an amazing partner with us for a long time. We've increasingly looked at the world as ways that we can bring OpenAI technology to life together. We're very fortunate that they're offering our models through their Azure OpenAI service, but we have an independent business, so we serve customers independently of Microsoft. And
is that one bigger than the Microsoft avenue?
Yeah, look, it's fluid between the two, but we really are focused on what's best for the companies we work with, and we're very fortunate to be able to diversify the surfaces in which we offer our products. We think the demand for this technology is massive, and so being a smaller company, obviously, having a partner that can help bring the technology to scale is really, really advantageous for us, and we're excited to support them in the future.
It's an extraordinary, very novel kind of partnership. And in fact, the whole of AI is birthing these kind of frenemy relationships. I just think of also acqui-hires, deals that seem to be going. Now, Microsoft has just seemingly acqui-hired the whole of Inflection. what did you make of that particular move, particularly when suddenly you got the co-founder of DeepMind coming in to be the head of consumer AI at Microsoft, and ultimately you put out a response to that, being like, congratulations. But how did that make you feel as the previous partner of choice for Microsoft?
Well, we're excited for them. We congratulate Mustafa and Karen and the whole team, and we work very closely with Microsoft, and so we think that's going to be a major advantage for our partnership as well. We're focused on what we can control on the OpenAI side, which for us right now is really thinking about the next wave of the technology and thinking about ways that wave is going to start to enable businesses. And the more we can think about that problem together, the better we'll all be.
A lot of CEOs that I speak to, some of them are your customers, say they're technology agnostic right now. In other words, they might use GPT or another foundation model. They might also be building their own in parallel. And when we told our audience you were coming on the show, a lot of people wanted to get your thoughts on the Palantir relationship. It's an interesting case study. They seem to be one of the beneficiaries of the enterprise investment in AI, or at least the data analytics side. What's it like working with Alex Karp?
Yeah, well, we actually work with a bunch of partners that help us bring the technology to life, and there's so many ways to deploy the technology in the enterprise. That's what's kind of amazing about this technology is it's not just one function in the enterprise or one part of the enterprise stack. It's so diverse and it's so broad-based, and so we work with many partners to bring that to life, and we'll continue to look for partners to work with to help us do that. We're excited with the way Palantir has been enabling their customers on top of our technology, and we'll continue to support them going forward.
Brad, every day it crosses my desk. You know that I've done quite a lot of reporting on Sam's chip ambitions as well. There's some relationship going on between the UAE and OpenAI, fundraising or technology partnerships. Can you clarify what's going on there and why you'd need to raise funds from somewhere like that?
Yeah, well, look, I won't comment specifically on that. We broadly, though, believe that there's just not enough total supply in the world, and that
of AI accelerators specifically?
Of AI accelerators, and broadly that the supply chain will need to adapt to what we think is going to be this highly inflected and nearly exponential demand in the next 10 years. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about ways that we can make sure that demand is met. Part of it is just being able to bring our models to bear, but upstream of that is obviously making sure that the actual underlying hardware and infrastructure exists to be able to build the systems that we need to ultimately serve that demand. And so, we think a lot about it, and our hope there is that the supply chain starts to think about that the same way we do.
Brad, your mantra, your manifesto, your focus is to build artificial general intelligence for the good of humanity. And I speak to a lot of humans who are terrified. Can you encapsulate how you can, without regulation being there in place yet, and the EU's sort of putting the gauntlet out there, you're doing all of this without disrupting too much, too quickly, too hard?
Yeah, well, look, central to our mission is to make sure that we bring the technology in a way that's safe and that creates broad benefit. It's really encoded into how OpenAI was structured, and it is actually the thing that we spend our time thinking about how to deliver in real-world results today. And so we're very optimistic, and I can understand where the fear comes from. Things are moving very fast. Even for us at the center of it, it sometimes is dizzying. But look, our perspective is that this is an enabling technology at its core. It's going to make businesses more efficient. It can make people more productive. It can be dramatically inflecting in how people learn, how people can understand information. And so we think that has a very broadly positive effect on the world. And the world that we wake up to 10 years from now will be one that we look back on, and really are excited to be able to go build today. And that's really what we wake up every day and want to go do. So.
We want to thank you being in the house with us, the COO of OpenAI, Brad Lightcap there, joining us in New York. We thank him.